It's a green light for Lime scooters to get back on Auckland streets, but there's a few riders, including reporting serious accidents to council within 24 hours and weekly maintenance inspections on every scooter. Now, Lime has to formally sign up to the conditions and can't relaunch until it does. And just a couple of minutes ago, we checked with council and they haven't yet signed on the dotted line. Also, the company that was suspended over its safety record is now going to be an ambassador for safety and education. So how does that work? Dean Kimpton is Auckland Council's Chief Operating Officer. This afternoon I spoke to him about Lime's new obligations. But first, I wanted to clear up what information Lime had handed over and when it first knew there was a problem.
We received a full list of all incidents in Auckland, injury and non-injury related. Is it related to the sudden braking issue? And
how many was that?
There was approximately 155 across New Zealand, about 90 in Auckland, 30 of which translated or resulted in injury to riders.
When was the earliest incident that they have recorded?
In the second half of October. I don't have the exact date in mind, but second half of October.
What do you make of that?
The licence period.
OK, so second part of October. What do you make of that, given one of the executives came out this week saying they'd only known about the problem for a few weeks?
I think we're all disappointed that they didn't understand it early on or didn't see the signs of a potential issue earlier than what they did. And I've also reiterated to them our disappointment that we learned about this through the media. We require them to report to us more regularly. That subject's been discussed with them, and I know it's certainly been a topic in the media, and they've undertaken to address that, and certainly our new requirements demanded them the same, reporting on a 48-hour basis.
OK, so their public comments, though, are miles apart from the actual reality that we have seen. So how can you trust them?
Look, all I can say is that we're disappointed in their communication with us. We have addressed the issue as soon as we became aware of it, which was in the middle of February. And a week later, we've suspended their licence.
But what about them? What about them? Because that's the question. How you can trust them to play by the rules when they're publicly saying one thing, that they've only known for a few weeks, when the reality shows that they have known for months?
Look, my view around Lime is that from now on they're very clear that we will suspend their licence if we get, and we'll do it again, if we get a repeat of these sorts of issues. So my focus now is we have put a line in the sand, we've suspended them once. We would suspend any other operator, including Lime, if we get a repeat of these sorts of issues where we're not getting quality of information. And we're not addressing product or public safety. So going forward, we're very clear, and I think the market is very clear what our position is as well.
Let's consider some of these conditions. So they have to escalate within 24 hours, and by that you mean report back to you to tell you if there are serious or significant safety incidences. What do you mean by significant or serious safety incidences?
So we're after two things here. One is if there is an incident where a person is seriously injured, maybe requiring hospitalisation, then we're going to leave it to them and their discretion what the exact threshold is. We expect to be notified.
Really? You're going to leave it to them? Given everything that we've discussed, you're going to leave that to their discretion?
Absolutely, because they're required to. If they want to hold a licence, they're going to have to report along these lines. And they're quite clear we do not want to hear about it through the media. Secondly, we've also said that we want them to report to us within 48 hours where there is a significant safety or a significant operating issue in their fleet outside of Auckland, including globally, because we want to understand how they're taking those events and building them into safe practice here in Auckland and therefore New Zealand.
Dean, have they been relying on people self-reporting incidents, or is there some other more sophisticated mechanism for them to track the brake fault in particular?
Look, to my understanding, I'm not the expert on their scooter. There's two sources. One is there is the operator and any complaints or observations that they file having ridden the scooter. And they have a diagnostic tool that allows them to interrogate the control unit on the Lime scooter And so they will take the individual rider's feedback and they'll combine that with the diagnostic feedback from the control unit on the scooter, and they'll form a view of what's actually happened. And we have got visibility into those reports.
Okay, so you're getting fortnightly reports now from the audit company, well, what is in essence the audit company. This is Exponent. Why do you need continued fortnightly reports? What are you missing?
What we've asked for is that Exponent is going to continue to monitor the performance of the scooters. This is at Lime's discretion. Continue to monitor the scooters, consider issues as they arise and advise on fixes for those issues. And you would expect that of any company that's wanting to operate with good or best practice.
So Exponent, sorry to interrupt, but sorry,
yeah,
Dean.
Certainly.
Exponent is being paid for by who during this process?
Lime.
Are they independent? Exponent?
So our view is we've asked them to write to us and give us assurance as independent advisor to Lime, but be aware, and there's also another condition on Lime, that Auckland Council and Auckland Transport appointed their own independent advisor. And we're going through the process of doing that. We expect to have that person appointed either by close of business today or on Monday. They will look at all the information both Exponent and Lime have provided. They will look at local operations and they will report back to us on their findings. And we expect to build that feedback into our expectations through the code of practice and, if required, specifically back to Lime.
Also, you are requiring Lime to improve its so-called ambassador program. So this is 10 people working 7 days, across 7 days a week at specific times, educating scooter riders. I mean, how's that work? 10 people over 7 days? You barely get one person on at any given time, would you?
Well, the intention is that we have at least 3 specific times each day, and there's 10 people working each day. It's not 10 people spread over 7 days.
Right, 10 people every day. And what do you anticipate that they will be doing? Stopping riders who are, for example, under the age of 18, because they're not supposed to be on the scooters. Do you expect them to be policing activities that shouldn't be happening?
So our expectation will be along those lines. Also, they have to be careful about their legal jurisdiction, but certainly there's a rider user agreement. So if they identify riders that aren't complying with those, then they're entitled, if Lime's given them that jurisdiction, to ask those riders to get off.
So in
if riders are riding unsafely, then we expect them to get them off. But we're also requiring those ambassadors to make sure they're out there educating and supporting the public in safe riding, and that both rider behaviour, but also where they ride and how they ride.
Okay, so they're basically the Lime police.
That's not my expression. We're calling them Lime ambassadors.
But they are there to police behaviour.
They're there to reinforce the safety obligations and use practice. I wouldn't want to call them Lime police. That's not my expression. They're ambassadors for safety and education.